Hi everybody, and thanks for joining me today. So, finishing up this second pass across the pattern, still working on Ramani. I got a lot of her dress done yesterday because it was like 2 colors, so that went really fast. So yeah, we're at 65.41. So like I said, my goal was to be 66% by the end of this month, so we should reach that no problem. We might even reach it in today's session, who knows. Okay, 3807. So yeah, I went for my 3rd acupuncture session this week, and yeah, it definitely seems to be working. I haven't had to take any painkillers or use any muscle rub or anything like that. So yeah, hopefully it keeps working. I've got more of a range of motion in my neck without pain, so yeah, I'm glad I decided to try something new because, like I said, going to the chiropractor just was not giving me the relief I needed. Yeah, so sort of each time I get more needles in me. So, and yeah, some of them are in unusual places. I have some in my ankles. I got one in my scalp. Yeah, I have some all the way down my upper arms, sort of near my armpits, and yeah, but hey, if it seems to be working, that's what my husband said too when he had his done. You know, his injury was for his upper back, sort of under one shoulder blade was where the pain was, and he said, yeah, it was strange because he's like, they're putting needles in like my fingers and my toes, and you know, not where you would have expected it, but it worked. So I guess it's the way different nerves run or whatever. Yeah, it's funny how some nerves are tied to other nerves where you wouldn't expect it to be. So yeah, so I think I have another 4 sessions and then we're going to reassess from there. But whether like I have to sort of go once a month or something like that afterwards, or what needs to happen. But yeah, I'm definitely happy with it. And it's not uncomfortable either. Like people hear, you know, needles, puncture, and but no, actually I found the most uncomfortable part was my face pressing into the massage table, into the opening of the massage table. Yeah, I actually found that it leaves a dent in my face for, you know, like 3 hours afterwards, and that's the most uncomfortable part. The rest of it's just fine. So there we go. Yeah, so I've been sleeping better because I haven't been waking up with pain, because I've had that for a while now. I was waking up around 3 or 4 a.m., you know, when my sleep meds were wearing off and my neck would be hurting, and I'd have to get up and put some, you know, muscle rub on it, or I would, I'd have to shift around and sort of find this one position propped up with pillows around me that it still hurt, but I could ignore it more and go back to sleep. But yeah, it's been nice because I haven't had pain while I've been trying to sleep, which of course, you know, you need your rest even more when you're hurting, but it's harder to get, right? So like I said, I'm glad I'm not having to take as many painkillers because, you know, they upset the stomach sometimes, and I just, yeah, prefer not to if I can help it. And then I'm also using my little stretch board that I got off Amazon. It's just for a couple of minutes twice a day. You just lie back on it, and it helps sort of put the proper curve into your neck. Because, you know, we tend to, you know, be bent down looking at our phones or looking at your cross stitch, right? So, yeah. I do try to, when I'm using my phone, I usually try to put pillows or something in my lap and rest my arms on them so that my head is at a more natural position instead of bending over. I do find that helps too. Because holding the phone up would be uncomfortable for my arms after a while, so, but then bending over to look down is not so great for my neck, so yeah. If I don't have pillows like I was out and waiting in a waiting room, I had my coat and I kind of folded it up in my lap to give me some height and then rested my arms there, and that seemed to help, so. And yeah, like I said, when I'm stitching, I have pillows behind me and stuff to keep me from hunching over and bring the work right up close. Bring my work to myself, not myself over to my work, so I don't get hurt. Yeah. Okay, so I'm not going to park this. There's another thread there, down there, that I'm going to use for that. I remember it's long enough. From yesterday, I remember. And making sure my ends go in towards the center of the design and not protruding out. This one's pretty short. We'll see what we can get out of it. If I can get all 4 stitches out of there or not. Yeah, so fingers crossed I don't jinx myself. It finally is warming up here. It's still below freezing, but only a little bit. It's been sunny, so yeah. Hopefully that means we're done with snow, but who knows? We even had a tiny bit of snow in like June one time. It didn't stick or anything, but it was still just like, really? Come on. And yeah, like I said, one time right at the end of May, there was enough snow for my son to make a snowman. Like, really? Yeah, somebody jokes that around here, winter is like Mother Nature keeps leaving and then storming back into the room to say, and another thing. So I think this is her hair here and a bit of the background. Yeah, so pretty sure I was right about we won't get any of Deku Link at the bottom. So I think this pass ends sort of right around her feet. Yeah, so we will get him at the very end. He will be the last character that we stitch on this piece. Yeah, when we get to him, we'll be almost done. Yeah, it was really nice too with the acupuncture. I was going to have to wait. When I first booked it, I was going to have to wait 3 weeks before they could get me in for my first appointment. And then there was a cancellation, so I got in like 2 days later. So woohoo. All right. All right, this is a short piece. We'll see how many we get. I'm thinking these 4 are highlighted will probably be it. I'll have to see if this other piece that's parked down here will be able to do these ones as well. Oops. Oh, I think I may actually manage to get those last couple of stitches out. So we will see. We're gonna try it. Anyway, we're gonna attempt it. Hopefully it's spring, but yeah, my poor husband had to go out to the transmitter site at work and then had to dig himself out for like an hour because yeah, he got stuck. And then yeah, he saw another guy who was coming in with his bigger truck and he quickly phoned him and said, you know, don't come through the gate because you're gonna get stuck even worse than me. Luckily my husband was able to get his truck out. He didn't have to call for a tow. But yeah, and especially since they're quite off the beaten path there. You definitely don't want to have to call a tow truck because, yeah, they often give you a sort of a extra charge to have to come out because it's sort of like in the middle of a farm field sort of thing. So, yeah. Yeah, the problem is a lot of times you really can't tell how deep the snow is because of the drifts, the way the wind has piled it up like sand dunes. So it can look a lot more shallow until you drive through it and then you're stuck. Yeah. And then, says the thing is his truck is 4-wheel drive, but it has like safety features to keep you from spinning your tires or whatever. But he said the problem is sometimes the sensor is wrong and so it will shut down when he needs it to give it, you know, some acceleration. And yeah, so because it's automatic. So, you know, he said he kind of wishes it was a standard, but oh well. Yeah, I'm not someone who likes manual, that's for sure. It's too much to think about all at once. This piece is done. So I usually use pin stitches to finish, but yeah, this is near the edge. That's not as an option as much. Just run out of places to pin stitch, so. Okay. I normally don't leave pieces this short still threaded, but because I knew I was getting back to it quickly, I did. Now this stitch, I know I won't. be coming back to it for a bit, so I'm going to unthread that. Oops, these are uneven. Yeah, I'm gonna have to trim that. Yeah, working on this character. I think that was my favorite of the side quests in the game, was the ranch one. It's funny because a lot of people said they played this when they were younger and it freaked them out, because I first started playing this when I was like 19, so yeah. Yeah, it's kind of sad. They said if you save the cows and the younger sister from the aliens, whatever they are, and then you save the milk shipment to the bar in Clocktown, if you go to their house on the right before the very end of the last day, you hear them talking, and the older sister basically says, "Oh, I'll let you drink the Chateau Romani," which is, you know, supposed to be like just for grown-ups, because well, she knows the world is ending. It was quite sad. Like, she doesn't tell her sister. She just sort of like, well, she knows that, you know, this is the end, so she lets her have some. Yeah. But yeah, if you don't save the younger sister on that first night, then yeah, she wanders around in a daze, and then later she goes in the house and she's sleeping. And they actually did the trouble of like rendering her characters lying under the covers. Usually the characters, they sleep on top of them. Yeah, like in Breath of the Wild, he kind of, Link will put his, you know, sword and shield down and kind of jump on the bed, and then, yeah, just lie on top of it to sleep, because of course doing the work of actually putting them under the blankets and having to have it interact with you, right, because it'll change. Yeah, it's more work than they're going to put in, but in that case they put that detail in, so that was interesting. Yeah, it's kind of like how a lot of characters in video games, they walk upstairs and they're just kind of walking and they kind of drift up the stairs. Yeah, like it looks kind of funny because they don't bother making sure their feet actually go on, like, you know, each step. And so it was interesting because I remember we played Exonica, I believe it's called, on PlayStation, I think it was. Yeah. Somebody recommended, like, if you like Final Fantasy, that you might like that game too. And that one, they actually did a really good job with the characters walking. When they went upstairs, their feet actually hit each individual step. It didn't do the sort of skating along thing that you normally see. So yeah, it was quite a lot of detail they put into that game. Yeah, that one I found, it was quite the storyline was quite dark. And the battle system was really hard to learn. I had to get used to that too, because it was one of those turn-based ones, not ones where, like in, say, Legend of Zelda, you know, you press the button to swing your sword kind of thing. No, this one was like you had to pick through commands through a menu, and you take damage points and stuff. So yeah, it's kind of took some getting used to. Stitching over my grid line here, but there's the big long one at the edge to pull, so I won't worry so much. Okay, so I did all of these. Perfect. Oh, pardon me. 13, 14, 1. Yeah, it was funny because my husband sent some pictures back to his parents where they don't have as much snow, and they were surprised we still have so much. I said, oh, actually, this year hasn't been as bad for snow. Yeah. Yeah, they say we get an average of like 20 inches of snow per year, but it seems like more. Ooh, but I mean, that's an average, so there definitely are years where we have way more than that. Yeah, so we've got a few. I'm really glad for Pattern Keeper because a couple of these symbols are kind of similar and they would mix me up quite easily without them, so. Yeah, I had a project I abandoned because the pattern I was working from, it must have been like, this was before I had a tablet, before I was stitching from an app, and it must have been, I don't know, some really bad scan of the paper or something, because the symbols were hard to see, and so I mixed it up, and I ended up stitching like a third of the pattern before realizing I'd used this kind of like light yellow color when it should have been green. I was like, oh. And I kind of considered trying to pick it out, and then at that point I was just like, you know what, I'm done. I don't like this pattern that much anymore. It was one I bought because it was the Aurora Borealis, which I really wanted, but yeah, it's kind of teed off at it at that point, and I didn't want to stitch it anymore. So, and then I discovered RDC, and yeah, their patterns are nice and clear. That one I stitched off paper, but yeah, they do a really good job of making the symbols nice and big and clear. And then I would enlarge it too when I was printing it out. So it was designed for like an 8x11 piece of paper, and I would enlarge it by like 30%, I think, so it fit on the Ledger 11x17 paper. Yeah, and then it was easier to see that way. But yeah, that's another nice thing with this app, is you can really zoom in. They in updates they made it so you can zoom in basically, so like this, like that's as big as you can go. So more than one, this is an 8-inch tablet, and like you can get it so small that even the entire square, or so large that even the entire square is too big for the screen kind of thing. So yeah, it's really useful. Because yeah, for some people, they like to work sort of one big square of 100 at a time. So that's really nice to be able to zoom in that much. It took a little getting used to when I first started stitching from this, because yeah, I was used to sort of seeing the whole page at once and then being able to zoom in on one specific area. It's like, okay, well, where am I on the page? Because I wasn't parking then. I was stitching cross country, so I would stitch sort of one page at a time. And I would, you know, pick a color and do all that color on that page, and then pick another color. But then, of course, the problem was you always missed some. So at the end, yeah, there was always like 100 stitches of like, you know, it was like 80 different colors. And so that took forever. Sort of the last day to finish that bit would take like the whole day instead of a couple, you know, instead of an hour or two, because of all the different colors, having to find them. Okay. Yeah, the ninja stitches, some people call them, because they hide from you. Because yeah, sometimes I would take out a color and be like, okay, I knew there were 4 of this color somewhere on the page, but can't find it, can't find it, can't find it. Finally give up, put it back in my, you know, in my box, and then my floss box. And then as soon as I finished putting it away, oh, there it is. Now I see it. Oh. My husband would hear me, you know, oh, darn it. And he's like, oh, missed another one. He knew exactly what happened. Happened all the time. Okay. So I may at some point put some aside and carry on downwards, but for now, I'm just going to keep filling this in until sort of it gets wide enough that I don't want to continue working across the whole width, and I will start to go in diagonals again. Okay, hang on a sec. So let's see how long that is. This one is, yeah, no point in parking that. It's too short. Okay, so I'm going to just park this down here. I'm going to unthread it for now, because probably won't get to it for a bit. Trim my nails, so I'm having a harder time picking up the needle without my claws. Okay, let's make sure that was there, smoothed out, because yeah, if you try to stitch with it when it's kind of twisted up, you can make knots, which I do not want. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to look at this. Okay, so I'm probably going to do something out of order here. Yeah, just because I don't feel like skipping around that much. So every now and then so I'm going to do all these and then in the corner here and then park. So I did do some out of order, but sometimes that's just the way it works out. So I could do this, sort of skip over to the corner and come back out, but I don't feel like crossing back and forth across the back that much to avoid closing in, so I won't. That would just use up more thread, so I won't bother. There's 4 here, but that last stitch is is below where I'm stopping, so no 0. Yeah, I'm not sure if this piece will be enough to get it or not. Okay, again, too short to leave threaded, so I won't bother. Okay, I think this is another one I'm gonna probably do some out of order too. Unless, I'm going to do, okay, I'll do these 3 in that one, sort of travel back upwards, yeah. Okay, I'm still going to end up doing some out of order, I think. I'm just going to park it right here for now and see what I can fill in. So yeah, like I said, every now and then it happens. It's just more trouble than it's worth to try to avoid closing stuff in, so I don't bother. Yeah, so these 2 symbols, this one here and then this one here, they're not the same, but they look close enough that it would be harder if I was having to do this manually, searching and highlighting manually, yeah. The worst I find is when you get the ones that have arrows pointing in different compass directions, and sometimes you end up with, you know, ones that are next to each other, and yeah, that can be a bit of a nightmare to try and keep it all straight, especially if you're working from paper and highlighters. Okay. All right, filled in that gap, but I think, yeah, we're coming up to where I'm gonna go outside my guidelines again. Yeah, so one and park, and then so they will leave a gap this time, although not for long. So yeah, broke my guidelines twice today, but oh, am I at the right spot? Or am I? Nope, I'm down here, aren't I? Hang on a minute, where am I? Oh no, I am at the right spot, okay. Yeah, mixing myself up again because I didn't pull the screen all the way to the left. So just gonna need to go back to markup mode, unselect that for now. So then I'm gonna do this run here. Yeah, there we go. You have to make sure the right edge is actually at the edge. Yeah, that felt shorter, and yep, it's because I got a knot in between this stitch and the last one. Let's see if I can pull it out. Come on. Don't make me have to restart, okay? That's really irritating. Oh, you piece of junk. You are just not going to cooperate, huh? Okay, well, it's very, very small now. So I think I may be able to get away with it. Yeah, you can hear a tiny little pop, but it's really, yeah, it's really tiny. So I'm going to just keep stitching with it. It's so small, it's not going to distort the holes. So So I did say I would probably reach past the 2/3 mark before I finished this this pass across the pattern, because it's 10 rows more than the last one. This one is, I usually do 60 rows for 14 count, and this time I did 70. Just because the entire thing is 192, so it doesn't divide into thirds perfectly, so. I guess maybe it did if I didn't stop at 60 on the first one, right? Yeah, I guess it would, but yeah. I like to stop sort of at an actual grid line, so yeah, after doing 60 for the first pass, then it wouldn't do that nicely, so. Okay, so I did that one. And these 4. Still. All right. $7.40. Oh, look at that. We're at 65.65%. So, yeah, to reach 2/3, it has to be 66.66. But yeah, should reach that in the next day or so. Okay, so this is the piece with the knot in it. Yeah, it's funny saying I play this game when I was, 19, 20. Yeah, when I was growing up, we weren't allowed video games. So of course, now that I'm an adult, we have like 8 games consoles. Yeah, my husband was surprised to find out I was into video games. I said, oh, us gamer girls exist. It's just stay out of a lot of geek spaces because fandoms can be very toxic sometimes. It's quite sad, actually. I wish people could just enjoy the thing instead of infighting about, who knows the thing better or whatever, like, ugh. Yeah, like, I'm a big Star Trek fan, and people are arguing about what's better, old Trek or new Trek, and I'm like, you know what, I like it all. Yeah. Or the movies versus the TV shows, and I'm like, they're all a little different, and I like them all. You know, I don't think you got to pick just one. It's fine. And I don't think you need to know every obscure piece of trivia about something either to be a real fan, you know, in quotes. Like, liking things shouldn't be stressful. Yeah, you gotta pick your fandom spaces carefully because some of them are great and some of them are not so much. So yeah, I ended up with 2 strands of this color in the same area, but as you can see, one of them is fairly short, so it's going to be ended soon. Yeah, I'm just going to do these 4 and then the 2 below it. And that will be it for this thread anyway, so. Yeah, some more of her dress here. Getting into a bit of a bigger blocks of color again. So that goes quickly. Yeah, I got a whole bunch done yesterday because you can see this area of her dress was all pretty much one color. So yeah, that zipped on by. Oh, I ended up having to go to the store and buy myself some more of one color because I thought I had enough to finish, but no, I'd end up being about 50 stitches short or so by the time I ran out of thread. So yeah. Yeah, I went to the little local craft store to buy one, you know, skein of thread and said, yeah, I thought I had enough, but no, I didn't. Isn't that always the way? All right, and then this one, pardon me. Yeah, this one will be done. So we're further from the edge, so I can go back to pin stitching here. If I could get my needle to come up in the right place, that is. But yeah, I'm far enough from the edge that this trimmed little end won't extend past the edge of the design, so. Yeah, I can't wait till Strange New Worlds comes back, Star Trek. I've been enjoying that because it's a bit more lighthearted, and I find it's more of the episodic kind of Trek instead of the serialized. I like both, but yeah, sometimes it's fun to have one that's just, each episode is sort of more self-contained. They had some fun ones in the first season. One where basically they end up like in a kid's storybook. And so the characters were all different. The captain was like the king, and yeah, it was fun. Very silly and very fun. I enjoyed it. They said that's one nice thing with the older seasons that were longer. They sort of had to make filler episodes, but sometimes the filler episodes were the best ones, in my opinion. Because a lot of times the bottle shows, they call them, the ones that are, they only use the existing, you know, sets and stuff to film them, is more character driven, which are my favorite stories. So yeah. Yeah, like, better special effects doesn't always mean better storytelling, you know? Said I find there's quite a lot of movies out there that I find they're visually stunning, but they don't move my emotions. And I mean, that's really what I want, you know? And that's really why humans tell stories, I think. Why it's such a universal sort of thing in every culture to tell tales, right? Okay, there we are. So not quite as many threads in this area, so it goes a bit quicker. Yeah, and then I think we're going to end up with, there's some stairs or something in the corner here. Yeah, I can see looking at the pattern, there's some more light tan sort of colors here. So that's, I think, the steps. Oh, my goodness, excuse me. Yeah, and it kind of goes the same slant as my diagonal, so then that stitches up pretty quickly, I find. That's all we're going to get out of this, I think. Yeah. Yeah, that is it. Okay, so back over to the left here. Yeah, we'll see whether I decide to go more into diagonals or not, because, yeah, this bigger block of color, I don't really kind of need to do that as much. So, yeah, sometimes by the end, I end up working sort of across several columns at once, because it just happens to work that way if the colors are in bigger blocks. Yeah, so this was the color. I was down to my last strand of thread. I think I have one more strand in my box, in my tray, and that was it. And it wouldn't be enough for all these. Yeah, I find sort of one strand is about good enough for 40 stitches if they're all grouped together. If they're scattered across, then of course you get less out of the piece of thread. But yeah, there's no way that strand would cover these 230 plus stitches. So yeah, I had to go and buy some more. And then I had to find some change in my car because, you know, I'm not going to charge $1.60. But I don't really carry cash with me anymore. Well, I stopped carrying a purse, so I stopped carrying a big wallet. I just, my phone case has slots to hold a few cards. So I've got, you know, like my driver's license and credit card. And, yeah, so I never have cash on me anymore, so. I do keep a 20 tucked in there, but I mean, I don't really want to break up a 20 for, you know, something that's less than $2, so. Yeah, I mostly only keep change in my car to unlock shopping carts. It's pretty frustrating when I forget it. And then I had to go and withdraw $20 just so I can get myself a loonie. That's what we call our $1 coins because they have a Canada Goose or a loon on them. So they're a loonie, and then the $2 coin ended up being called a toonie. So. Yeah, they were actually talking of making a $5 coin, but I said that was getting kind of ridiculous. But yeah, like they switched, oh gee, in the 90s from paper 1s and 2s to coins because they last longer, so. Yeah, so our smallest bill denomination now is a 5. And I said it's our money makes a rainbow, but I said it kind of annoys me that the rainbow order and the number order aren't the same because the red is a 50 and then the orangey brown is the 100 and then the green is the 20 and the purple is the 10 and the blue is the 5. So they're not quite in number order. And I said, that annoys me. But yeah, Canadian money is very hard for people to counterfeit because it's got so many features. It's got holograms on it. It's got clear see-through part now. And yeah. And they keep changing it every few years, I find a lot of times, so. Yeah, the old 5s. People, if you colored it in a certain way, you could make Laurier look like Spock. So people were doing that. And then, you know, the Bank of Canada is telling people not to do that. It's like, well, now you have more people doing it, right? People who didn't know you could make it look like Spock. Now you have more people who who make it look like that. Yeah, we used to have $1,000 bills too that were a fuchsia color, but yeah, they don't make them anymore. Well, I mean, how often do you have a call to pay with a $1,000 bill, right? Yeah. So they're kind of collector's items now. Although they said money is still, you know, worth its face value forever, even once they're no longer in circulation. But a lot of people hang on to them and sell them for more than face value to collectors and such. Yeah. I've seen Canadian $1 bills go for like 50 bucks or something because you can't get them anymore easily. Yeah, and then we had special quarters, and I remember late 90s, early 2000s, there were tons of them. They had a bunch of them for commemorating different things, like there was commemorating Olympics and 100 years of Canada, or 100 years of Canada or whatever, and yeah, all sorts of stuff. I got to the point where I kind of stopped collecting them because there were so many. Yeah. Okay, $7.96. I still have some somewhere. Yeah, and then there used to be 50-cent pieces, but they stopped circulating those, I think before I was born or when I was a little kid. Yeah, I've only seen a couple of them in real life. Yeah, because I remember there was a riddle in a book saying I have 55 cents in my hand, Canadian in my hand, and one of them is not a 50-cent piece. I have only 2 coins. How is that possible? And, well, basically it was the one piece that is not a 50-cent piece is a nickel. It didn't say neither piece is a 50-cent piece. So, yeah, that was the riddle, is that one is a nickel and one is a 50-cent piece, and the one that is not a 50-cent piece is a nickel. So. Let's change position here and get comfy. 65.8. Yeah, this is a really short bit. But I think I might be able to get that one last stitch there out of it. Yeah, so I will. And then I'll attach a new piece to go over doing these ones that are over to the right. Okay, 37.46. Okay, that's not threaded, so I think, yeah, I'm going to put this all aside, and I'm going to carry on down this diagonal here. Yeah. At least for part of it. I may end up back at the top again pretty soon, we'll see. Yeah, because I can see this other color sort of extending out this way, so we'll see what happens. Sometimes, again, I'll break my guideline and sort of let it sort of slant out this way instead of slanting the other way. If the colors sort of go that way, I just sometimes just follow them a bit rather than trying to force them to go in my standard diagonal direction. Yeah, some people do, but I don't bother. I also find if you kind of try to force it to go that way instead of following it, it can leave potential lines in your work. So there is that as well. So it means some stuff gets a little more closed in, but yeah. I don't mind at that point. We shall see. Okay, 158. Oh, my goodness, pardon me. Yeah, still adjusting to the time change. Ugh. Both of them take me a while, but this spring one where we skip forward an hour, that one's harder to adjust to. That was funny. There was a meme I shared that said, you know, did we do it? Did we save the sunlight, the daylight? Yeah. Oh, did I park these in the wrong spots? I think I did. 1, 2. Yeah, I parked these up too high. Yeah, I parked one wrong, which means I parked them both wrong. Let's take a look here. Or did I not? Oh, what have I done here? No, I didn't actually. Oh, okay. Huh. Good thing I didn't fix that yet, hey? Yeah, silly me. I did park them correctly. Like I said, I'm tired. I can't count. Oh, dear. So, shall we stitch until it's 66% even? We're pretty close to that. We'll see how much more it takes. I'm guessing it's less than 100 stitches, so. Okay, and a bunch of the same color. Yeah, this was the very last strand. And yeah, definitely wouldn't have been enough to do 217 more stitches, so yeah, good thing I went and bought some more yesterday. I would have run out. Well, I had to go out to buy some other stuff anyway, so it wasn't like I made a trip just to buy the one piece of thread. Okay. Yeah, this should probably get us to our 66% goal pretty quickly, since I don't have to change colors as much here. sometimes one nice thing about going back to the top a bit, again, is I give my arms a little break since I just did a whole bunch in a row. It helps avoid the carpal tunnel. Okay. Let me start a new piece for that lower bit down there. We'll see. Or if this one will be enough to carry on. Yeah, you can see the shading here as it slowly gets darker as we get closer to the back of her dress there. Okay. Now, if I remember correctly, this piece is, yeah, not very long. Okay, I'm just going to set that aside for a bit. Carry on this way. Yeah, because I don't sort of need to do these stitches here in order to be able to fill all this in here. I think I will be able to park this down further, but I don't think I'm going to get all of them with this thread. I think it'll run out. Yeah, well, threads can't last forever, right? Okay. So I think less than 50 stitches to go to hit that 66%. I think that is where we'll quit. Okay. do these and then I can switch back to my big color block again. So yeah, like I said, switching back and forth kind of breaks it up and helps prevent repetitive stress. To a different color again, 791. Oh dear, it just tied itself into a tangle here. Oh, come on. Let's see if I can loosen it up, or if that's just not salvageable. Well, that's frustrating. Okay. Sometimes I'll sacrifice sort of this little bit here and see if having that cut short means I can pop the rest of it out or not. Let's see. Okay, well that slides, so what I'm going to do, slide it right to the end, that little knotted bit, and then I'll just trim it right off. There. That way I didn't waste a bunch. I only lost like about an inch off this strand, so yeah. Okay. Okay. Got 5, so not a lot left. So what I'm gonna do is, yeah, I will come back up to here and do a little bit. I did not leave that threaded. Oh, it's very uneven. There. So these star symbols, I'm kind of breaking them up a bit. So sometimes I go across a big section at once, and sometimes I break it up a bit. It just kind of depends. I'm breaking this up a bit so that I can continue on down towards the left. Also, this piece is not that long, so I would have run out anyway. Okay, another short bit, shorter bit, kind of a medium length here. Yeah, so I'm not really following the diagonal, but I'm kind of cutting it off sort of right about here. And then I'll come back and fill in again. I think that is all. Have to start a new thread again. Oh, maybe I'll get one more. Yeah. Left it threaded because I'm going to just do one stitch before I get back to that needle. So if it was going to be a while before I got back to it, then I would unthread it because there'd be no point. Okay. Yeah, also sometimes breaking it up means it gives me a chance to use up some of my smaller leftover pieces too. So. Okay. See, I'm kind of staggering that edge a bit there too, so it's won't show a line, just in case. Super short, but I can squeak one more stitch out. I got lots of short pieces in this area. Just kind of worked out that way. Down quite right. 99. Let's see if this takes us to an even 66%. Nope. Okay, let's see if this stitch does it. Nope, still didn't do it. Okay, we're probably going to end up going over a little bit now since there's 4 here. We'll see. It'll be like 66.01 or something. Oh, no, perfectly, 66.00. So I think I'm going to take a break there. Thank you so much for joining me today, and hope to see you here again another time. All right, thanks, everyone. Bye.